Hello YouTube, GreatRJ1 here, and today I'll be doing my concept of Jango Fett in Battlefront 2. So I was able to think of all his abilities, which is why Previsler is going to probably come after Jango. Now I am sorry if the Mace Windu thumbnail on the Mace Windu video looks a little weird. There is no real Mace Windu in the game, and I had to put Finn's face on over the Obi-Wan model for the thumbnail, and it does not work well because I can't really do well pasting it like that, which is why it looks so weird. But anyway, let's get into Jango, shall we? So his maximum health would be 700. He would have 700 health. I feel like that's a bit reasonable for blaster heroes. I feel like any lower than that and I feel a bit too weak. And I think, if I'm correct, Han Solo has about 700 health. I feel like 700 health is just enough where heroes aren't that weak. So he will always, so most blaster heroes, or all, will have their minimum health at 700 at least, at minimum. So his health recovery will be about 200, still below average, because the average is usually 250. Now, he would be about the same speed as Boba Fett in the default game, and I feel like that's just reasonable, as they are clones, and I feel like, as Boba Fett is Jango's clone, and I feel like it should be that way. So his damage output, his weapon of choice would be these two pistols, and this would be a hold down weapon for when he's using both pistols at least. Basically, when he's holding both pistols, his weapon will go into a rapid fire if you hold down the button. So yeah, that can happen. You can rapid fire with the pistols as long as you hold down the button, so you don't actually have to be pressing the button every single time, aka the lightsaber attack button. Usually when I say attack, I mean the lightsaber attack button. Now if you hold down the zoom button, which is the block button for lightsaber heroes, he will switch from both pistols, and they won't have a lot. They will have a bit of range, but they can only go from short to medium range. However, he will switch to one pistol with this with holding down the zoom button, and basically this will make him switch to one pistol, slowing down his fire rate, giving him a 1 second delay, unlike when he was using the double pistols, which would have had a no delay on each blaster bolt. For this one, it would have a 1 second delay, but for Jango, once you hold down the zoom button, this will not control the jetpack, and it will control and will make him use one pistol. This will allow him to shoot from medium to long range. However, this fire rate has a 1 second delay on each bolt fired. So yeah, I feel like that's pretty even. Now his damage with the one blaster and two blasters, and how much heat and how long does it take to reach the heat cooldown. So it will take about 15 shots for him to reach the full cooldown on the normal two pistols, and I feel like that's pretty good. He can get some shots in, and will take him about 5 or 10 shots. I feel like 10 will be more reasonable for the one pistol. So I feel like that's pretty good. So we got that out of the way. Let's get into the damage output, shall we? A headshot with a double pistol would be about 200 damage, on infantry, 150 on reinforcements and heroes. And it will be 150 damage to the body on infantry and 140 damage to reinforcements and heroes. So I'm assuming reinforcements and heroes take the same amount of damage, just because it seems more reasonable for it to do, and really they are stronger than infantry. That's why I think it makes more sense. But if it's wrong, then I'll just make sure to change. Then just remember that it would be like the infantry damage for reinforcements if I'm wrong. Anyway, the one pistol, now the damage drop off when the double pistol reaches long range will be going down by 50. So it will go down by about 100, not being as powerful. One pistol at short range, it will have another damage drop off of 50. I mean of 100, but the damage on headshots and body shots, it will be about 250 on the headshots to infantry and 200 damage on the body to infantry. And it will be 200 damage on the headshots to heroes. I'll make it 150. No, I'll make it 180 and 170 to the body on heroes and reinforcements. I'll probably actually up it back to 200 on headshots and make it 180 for body shots. I think that makes it a bit more fair, and it doesn't seem like it's all useless. But then the longer ranges do sort of pull it down. But then this one pistol is meant to make him a longer range hero. Anyway, we got all that out of the way. We can get into his abilities. So the first ability will be basically the flamethrower. I feel I'll just make this the same as in my Mando guys. I feel like that's a better flamethrower to have it be working like that. So if you have not watched my Mando guides and you don't know how this works, I'm not going to repeat it, because to be fair I won't remember how all of it works. So you have to go and watch that, just because I don't feel like repeating myself, and pretty much it will just be the same section of the video. And you don't want to be watching the same section of the video, really, do you? Anyway, the middle ability, this one would make him use a rocket from his jetpack, the middle rockets to be exact, and this will be a tracking rocket. It will track all the enemies, it will track one enemy at a time, and this would basically help him get to hit not multiple enemies, but get one enemy at a time. Now the flamethrower cooldown would be about 15 seconds. The middle ability would be about 25 seconds for how powerful it is if it tracks an enemy. Now the damage of the rocket, if it hits the enemy, now it will keep on tracking the enemy until it actually hits them, and this will be an unblockable attack. This one, the rocket will probably deal, I don't know how much it would deal, probably not 1,000, that would be too powerful, probably 180 damage, and the damage, there will be no damage drop off. So the final ability will be called Cable. Now this one will probably be the most unique ability, And basically, you know how Jango ties Obi-Wan up in Attack of the Clones, and then he sort of dragged him about? We're going to be using that as an ability. Basically, this will not have very much lock-on range, but it will. But once you're locked on, it will last for about 3 seconds, and you can drag your enemy anywhere you like, whether it's off an edge or something like that. And this will basically allow you to drag your enemy wherever you like. I feel like this might make him a bit too overpowered, so I feel like if he was ever to get released like this, he would probably get nerfed and have the ability reworked to probably stun enemies. But I already did that with Mando, and I don't really want to make it so we basically have 2 heroes that are basically the exact same. And I feel like that's true for about everyone as well. So that's his abilities out of the way. Now you may be wondering, how does the jetpack work? Basically works the same way as Mando's jetpack. It has 100 health. When you get damaged, the jetpack gets damaged. If the jetpack reaches 0 health, now it's actually an epic ending. Once the jetpack reaches 0 health, it can no longer be used for about 3 seconds. It has unlimited jetpack fuel and can be used whenever you like, as long as its health is not at 0. It will recharge 20 health a second, and I know it didn't go over like that in the Mando comment when I did it in the comments of Mando, but still I feel like it's I feel like I should have just said it anyway, like I was planning to change it before. That was a quick end. Wasn't expecting all the clones to come out like that. But yeah, that's basically how the jetpack works. So far, I think Commando's pretty good. The cable will not really deal any damage. It will probably only do about 20 damage, but he would have a passive ability and a new thing called a disability, a passive disability. So his passive ability will be if he's falling down a steep slope, like the dome things on Commando, he will slide down them slower. So you know, in Attack of the Clones, he was using like that knife thing to slow down him getting down. This is basically what it would be doing. Now the new disability will be actually giving him 20% extra damage while flying with him. So you're not actually meant to fly with him a lot. So the way you need to be playing with him. So the way you have to be playing with him is basically you want to get up close with your enemy. Now if you're fighting a lightsaber hero, once they get too close to you, so stay on fighting the lightsaber hero right now. I'm basically shooting them, and then once they get too close to you, you fly away and carry on shooting until you get a safe distance, and then you begin the process. That's basically how you're meant to play. For a blaster hero though, this would be a bit different, and keep in mind Chewbacca's bowcaster will probably not knock enemies out of the air. I feel like that's a little too overpowered, and I know in one of my concepts I made one of the heroes do that. Can't remember who I made that happen. I think it was Mando, wasn't it? Yeah, it would have to be Mando, because I didn't really do any other hero concepts, did I? With blasters. So probably Mando will be the only one to actually knock an enemy out of the air. I feel like that seems a bit more fair, because to be fair, Chewbacca, he's already a bit OP in the game. I'd say a bit. A Chewbacca that knows what they're doing is pretty overpowered. And I feel like Chewbacca is pretty overpowered when fighting the Boba Fett or Jango Fett, and I feel like that makes it a bit unfair. Now there would be a card to reduce the disability damage. This would be quite minor though. So he does get so he does receive less damage while flying. But this is basically the jetpack should be used as a way to get to safety, or as a way to get around the map without getting shot. If you're getting shot, then it's best to walk instead of fly. So yeah, I feel like this just balances everything out. So yeah, and I sort of want the gameplay of Jango to be reflected as it was in Attack of the Clones, basically only flying away when an enemy gets too close to him. So yeah, I wanted that to be reflected in his gameplay. Keep in mind, he's not actually coming to the game. This is just my concept of him, and he's not actually coming to the game. Let alone the game's not getting any other updates, and it probably never will. I'm surprised I win that. Anyway, so far Jango is quite well. Now, I think his slave one would be added, but probably as a skin for Bobas. But it could even just be added as a normal, as an actual hero ship. And I feel like a hero ship would be quite good, and I don't know why. I don't know why it sometimes blinds you if it's too close to you. Doesn't really make sense, but yeah. Anyway, so far, Jango, you're meant to be quite careful when using him. If you try and play him like Boba in the normal game, then you're going to be at a big disadvantage. If you try and play him like the opposite of Boba, you're probably going to be at a more advantage. And I feel like that's why he should be played. He's not meant to be like Boba. He's meant to be more like his own character from Attack of the Clones, and not like Boba. And I feel like that's quite reflected in the gameplay so far. But I think it's time to get into all his appearances and star cards. And yes, there are appearances for him. I thought of 4, and I feel like and the 5th one I feel like it would be more of a joke one instead of an actual appearance, and I don't think this would ever get added. I know it would never get added, but it would still be really funny to play with. Anyway, let's get into his star cards. So they cannot be a Jetpack star cards unless it's increasing the health. So this first star card would increase his health because it would increase the health of the jetpack. So this would go from 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, so it has 150 health, basically allowing you to fly for a little longer before it needs to regen health. Keep in mind, it will not regen its health until it gets to 0. So this next card would be decreasing the ability cooldowns when he's flying. Now this is not a good star card, because you're going to be taking increased damage while flying, and unless you're in a place where people don't normally go on a map, and you're just flying to recharge your abilities, then I feel like that would just not be I feel like this card is a bit useless. However, it would go from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20% like Boba's card. The next card would be, but I didn't go over the cable cooldown, did I? I'll probably give it a 25-second cooldown as well, for how powerful it is for being able to drag enemies away. I feel like it could do about 20 damage when it hits an enemy, so anyway. This one would slightly increase the damage of the cable. This would go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. So it will deal about 24 damage, increasing it slightly, but really it's not too much of a damage increase. So this is another useless card basically. So far the only useful card is the Jetpack card really. That increases itself. Now the next card. This one would basically slightly increase the flamethrower damage. This would go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. I feel like increasing it from like to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 or something like that, I feel like that would be a bit too powerful for it would just increase the damage to be way too powerful. So I feel like it shouldn't be like that. Anyway, the next card, this card will basically blind the enemy when the rocket hits them. Now this one will tell you the time it takes for it. Now this one, so the time of being blinded, this will go from 2 seconds to 3 to 4 to 5. So they get blinded for 5 seconds after getting hit. So I feel like this is a good card, and this will also be like Boba's concussion missile, where it stops all enemy weapons from being used, if they're using a blaster at least. And if they're being BB-8 or BB-9E, or if there's at least a droid, it will basically put them out of action for at least 2 seconds, basically not allowing them to move. However, next up, this one would basically decrease the damage the jetpack will take. This one would decrease it from 10% to 15, 20 to 25%. I feel like this is one of the more useful cards because you can fly around for longer. Next one, this will decrease the ability recharge time, all its ability recharge times, no matter if he's flying or not. So the first card, this one is when you're flying, and this will combo with this. This will go from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. So you get a 5-second reduction, and if I'm correct I did it with this one being a 5 second as well. So if not a full, so you have about 9 to 10 seconds shaved off. Next one, this would be called longer lock-on, and this would basically increase the lock-on radius of the rocket. Now the ability cannot be used if someone is not in range of the rocket, and it will tell you which enemy you're going to be locking onto, because you can choose which enemy you're going to lock onto with it. So this would just do it from 8% to 10% to 12% to 15%. Now the last star cards, the star cards you've been waiting for. This card reduces his damage while flying in the air. So you know he takes increased damage while flying. This one basically reduces it. This will reduce it from, this would go from 2% to 4% to 8% to 10%. So he takes 10% more damage while flying in the air. So yeah, so going from, it goes from 20% down to 10%. So it becomes more useful while flying, but this should not affect his gameplay. You should be playing him like with trying to stay close, where you shoot from a bit of a distance, and then once the enemy gets way too close to you, you fly away, get that distance, then shoot them again, and then begin to shoot again. And make sure to shoot while flying with it. I feel like that should really help. So, let's get into his appearances, shall we? We'll be using Lando this time. So his default appearance would be basically the appearance he has on Commando, well before he arrived, well when he was exiting Commando. This would just basically give him like the Boba Fett jetpack with the bigger rocket on. Now the second appearance will basically be the same appearance but with a smaller rocket. There are two different rockets he has in the movie with the jetpack. Now the next appearance would basically be unhelmeted with the big rocket on, and the same would be for the unhelmeted with the small rocket on. Now I feel like there could be a couple more appearances. I would do his Commando outfit where it's not in his armour, but then there would be no way for him to fly unless we give him his jetpack or just give him rocket boots. So if they gave him rocket boots instead of a jetpack for that appearance, I feel like that would be a bit better, because we can't have him just flying. Let's head to, yeah, actually no, let's not head over to Kylo real quick. So the next appearance, I feel like I'm going to add a couple more appearances. This appearance will be the pilot's appearance. Basically his appearance while he was flying the Slave One while trying to attack Obi-Wan while they were going to Geonosis. This would basically give him the smaller rocket with like the headset on, so yeah. Now here's the joke appearance I was talking about. Basically the top of this small rocket would not be there, and this would basically be the headless appearance. This is more of a joke appearance, and this would never ever get added, I know that, but this would just be more of a joke appearance, and I feel like it would be a really funny sight just seeing Jango Fett walking across the Battlefront with this appearance on. So yeah, I feel like that could be a bit funny just seeing a Jango flying about, but you know. So that wraps up today's video. Now I think I'm probably going to I was actually going to give him another passive ability, and basically once he deals about 500 damage to his enemies, he will have his enemies revealed to him, but only him, for 5 seconds. So he just has to deal 500 damage while being alive. This will reset once he dies, but once he deals 500 damage while being alive, then he will get all enemies' locations will get revealed for 5 seconds. I feel like this is a good passive ability, and this also sort of takes his place of Boba's for the hunt. So I'm probably just going to get the Mando thumbnail and just recolour Mando and just make it more like Jango Fett for the thumbnail. I feel like that would be a bit easier to do than just having to recolour Boba, because it took a long time just to make the Mando thumbnail. So yeah, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.